For more content on tonight's episode, make sure you check out the Al Nicoletti YouTube channel and the Al Nicoletti personal page and business page on Facebook. You can check out all the amazing guests that have been on the Al Nicoletti Show, which is on iTunes and Spotify. If you're on your phone or you're on your device, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, and hit the subscribe button. You will get all the amazing guests that have been on the show over the past year and a couple months. I did this like starting in, I don't even know what it was, December or November of 2020. So all the guests that have been on the show throughout the whole year of 2021. What a year. What a great thing this has been. It's been incredible. I love it. And this is the final episode of season 2. Yeah, season 2, because season 1 was when I was doing all the Zoom calls and I had the microphone, I had the boxes, like the camera was facing the blinds on the other side. And now season 2 was in the studio. It's been incredible. I have all the guests that have been on the show. I have things that are on the shelf from the guests that have been there. Hive Mind, Richie Insurance, Adam Locklear, the Cash Geeks, John Alexander, New View Trust, all the incredible guests. Make sure you check them all out, all the guests that have been on the show. And I hope you enjoy the final episode of the Al Nicoletti Show. I have an incredible guest, Mighty Mike. So stay tuned, stick around. He's going to drop some gems, some bombs. It's going to be a great episode, so stay tuned. Hey, everybody. My name is Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in their community that educate, entertain, and inspire all things on Florida real estate and going beyond Florida, because there's so many people out there, so many people that are doing deals in Florida and teaching people some incredible things on how you can really grow your business and how you out there can take your company to the next level. I am so excited. If you can't tell already, I'm so excited that this is the final episode of season 2. It's been an incredible season. Before I even begin, I just want to do a special shout out to Nate Hare at New View Trust. Nate Hare, New View's doing a huge investor conference in Orlando, January 6th and 7th. It's going to be a great one. Nate, you're the man. Thanks so much for inviting me. Can't wait to be up there speaking. It's going to be a great conference. But on the show today, I wanted to bring on the final guest, the Mighty Mike. I wanted to bring him on, and he's going to dive in on the real estate world in the realtor section on promoting, producing, doing things that are big time in his community in Orlando. And before I bring Mike on, I wanted to say how I even met Mike. It was crazy. Steve Rosenberg and Bobby Sharma put on the Millionaire Boot Camp. I see him back there. Put on the Millionaire Boot Camp, and I was speaking there talking all about probate. And I remember I did the whole presentation, and after, Mike came up to me and he was like, "Man, that was crazy. I mean, it's all about the probate world." And I said, "Hey, let's connect." And he's like, "Yeah, I want to talk about some of this stuff, and I'd love to be on your show." And I was like, "Absolutely." So I had to have Mike on the show, and he's going to talk all about how to sell homes fast. And Mighty Mike is in Orlando. He's going to talk about preparing, positioning, promoting, and how he prepares his clients and the property and positions the property as the best option by pricing it just right. And he promotes it like no other agent. Out there. And he's going to talk about that. And he's also going to talk about his book that's coming out Christmas Eve about how to find motivated sellers and close the deal. So let's do this. Without further ado, Mighty Mike. Mike, welcome to the show, man.
What is up, Al? Man, I'm just so honored and just stoked. I mean, that was like an intro. I have my own show, and that intro was just like crazy good, man. Super honored to be on the show.
Thanks, man. No, I'm so happy to have you. Like I said, I saw you at the boot camp, and I was like, man, we got to have you on, talk about what you're doing. I love your background. I'm sure we'll talk about your meetups that you're starting to do in Orlando, all about your show and what you're trying to provide to everybody. But before we get into all of that, tell everybody, who's Mike Reid? Who's Mighty Mike? How did you even get to Mighty Mike? What were you doing before real estate, and what are you doing today?
So the condensed version is I became mighty. I'm becoming mighty. So the idea is, I lost 100 pounds. I had a weight loss journey. I had a show. It used to be the Mighty Mike show, but it was all about inspiration. And I got to meet some big shakers and players like John Lee Dumas, Lewis House, some of these guys that just were doing big things. And I was able to get some of them on my show. And I was like, I need to make a show all about, when I got into real estate, I was like, I need to make a show all about real estate. And so each and every day, Mighty is about, taking charge of your life and doing everything you can in every area of your life to become better. And so Mighty Mike is a brand, my marketing company is Mighty. Everything is Mighty. Kind of like Virgin Mobile. I was like, I need to find a name that people can spell, right? Like as a marketer, I was like, I need to find a name that people can relate to and easily, very quickly know how to spell. And then I'll just put it on all of my companies as I start them.
Great.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the real estate world? Like, how did you even get here? What were you doing before? You're like, I'm not doing that anymore. Now I really want to go full time into real estate. Cause there's a lot of people out there that start doing it part time. They dabble in it a little bit, but then all of a sudden they make that jump.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about me is every time, so I've started multiple businesses, and I don't want to give a cliche answer, but essentially what I've always done, and my girlfriend hates me for this, but I actually don't stop what I'm doing before, because ever since I read Rich Dad Poor Dad way back in the day, me and my friend, he told me about it, and he was a CNA. This was a guy that was like 26 years old, wiping butts for a living. And hey, if you do that and you're a CNA, like God bless you, like you're such a good person. but he was doing that and he hated it. And he was like, Mike, I got to change and I got to do something. And so he started flipping homes and I started helping him. And I learned that book isn't really a real estate book. For your listeners, those people who don't know that, Rich Dad Poor Dad it's really not about real estate. It's really about trading your job for a company and then trading your company for passive income. And I once I realized that, I was like, I can have my money make me money. Then I started creating, because I was really good at creating jobs, Al. Like, I mean, from being a private investigator, getting paid hourly, to surveil people, to serve them legal documents, from building a marketing company where I'm like every day having to watch the ad dollars and optimize. These are all just jobs. And so as soon as I started cutting out the jobs and just keeping the things that passively made money, and both of those businesses had elements of them that made me money passively and still do to this day. So I was able to jump into real estate because I already have all my bills paid as far as from those companies. And so I was like, all right, let's flip some homes. And so to answer your question, that was the past. But getting into this here locally, I was like, I'm gonna go flip homes here in Orlando once I got here and I moved from California. I mean, I have a huge story and I'm trying not to tell the whole thing.
Oh, the thing is, we love hearing where the guests have come from
uh,
because so many people are thinking in their own heads, hey, I'm there. I'm
yeah.
at that point where I really need to make a move. Either they're new, they're seasoned, and maybe want to pivot and change and be flexible. So, no, we love hearing all the stories. We love hearing about Mike Reid.
Okay, so I'll go in a little more. So before COVID hit, I was traveling around speaking about my marketing company and how, these legal professionals they need to have a website and setting them up and stuff like that. Because like I said, I had decided that websites was something I could do passively. I build it one time and they pay a maintenance fee. And over time, it just built up really nicely. Well, I would go to all these conferences, and when COVID hit, I couldn't do the speaking gig anymore, and so I was like, I got to find something else to do. I got to get off the couch. And interesting enough, I met my girlfriend at one of those conferences in Corpus Christi, Texas, and I used to help promote the events and do like a Facebook Live video. And the first words I ever said to my girlfriend was, can I record you? Before I put the camera on her. And she's like, yes. And then I recorded her and promoted her vendor because she was working for one of the vendors. And then we just hit it off, man. Stayed up in the hot tub, all night. It was the only hot tub that's ever open after 10. I don't know what happened. They must have been like, we're not going to bother those two. And then she lived in Orlando and I was in California, right? And traveling. And so I was like, I got to go check out Orlando. And once I did, I was like, the beaches are an hour away in pretty much all directions. And I was like, I'm moving to Orlando. So I moved here and thought I was going to flip homes. And I'll tell you, I'm pretty good at finding properties. I'm really good. I'm actually writing a book about it. But when I went, I saw on that Friday night, I went through. I was like, okay, tomorrow Saturday, I'm gonna go driving for dollars. I'm gonna go look at all these properties, and I'm gonna make an offer on one of these properties, and I'm gonna flip it, right? And so I had probably 12 properties I was gonna go look at that had been sent to me from wholesalers and that I had found online, and some probates, actually a couple probates. Like, I'm just gonna go drive by, and I'm telling you, every single house that I went to had contracts on them. Every single one. I wasn't able to talk to everyone in person, but I followed up later, that day and on Saturday night, and all of those properties had been scooped up. Orlando was a very competitive market, so I decided to become a realtor. And I wasn't even sure that I wanted to be a realtor. It's always kind of like a bad word in California. You don't want to become a realtor if you're an investor, because then you have this conflict and you get, these boards calling you and stuff. But honestly, Al, I talked to some people who are realtors here that were just really investor friendly, and they were like, "Dude, become a realtor. You're going to have the MLS. You're going to have people sending you properties to either sell or buy yourself." And that's actually turned out to be true.
Wow. So, Mike, what was really interesting was you were a process server or like private investigator before all this.
Yeah.
I think that is such an interesting world because, like, not with the probates really, but with some of the other like weird stuff in the real estate litigation, we have to use the private investigators or the private process
Yeah.
servers to serve and do all the crazy stuff. And so it's really cool hearing like how you went from that world and then you're in that real estate world. But I'm sure you were kind of accustomed with real estate by doing all of that, right?
It's funny you say that, because I wasn't just a process server. I was the process server. Like, I have a show called Process Server Daily that I don't record anymore. And I interviewed all the association presidents. I interviewed all the multi-million dollar process serving companies. I'm good friends with the owner of Direct Legal and in Los Angeles, like one of the largest, One Legal. I mean, so yeah, I really just dominated that industry and built a really nice business that ended up turning into a nice online business, virtuallegalpros.com, and now 123efile.com. And I don't have to serve any more papers.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that could be a pretty scary business, I'm sure. Like, you're going to serve these people. You don't even know what they're going to do, how they're going to react. But now you're in the real estate, you're in the right world, and you're doing all the realtor stuff, and you're doing some of the investing side. So I know you really wanted to talk about preparing, positioning, and promoting when it comes to the real estate world. So, and in a hot market, Orlando is a hot market. People are coming to Florida. They love Orlando. It's expanding. I think every time I go down I-4, all of a sudden I see a new crane up that's going. So how do you best prepare your client with the property, especially in a hot market like Orlando?
You know, the funny thing is, when it comes to selling real estate, is I think a lot of real estate agents, and people, investors, right? Is that mainly your audience, and real estate investors?
It could be
Could be anybody.
investors, really anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So from a real estate agent perspective, well, from any perspective, actually, if you're trying to sell a house, even if you're a homeowner, if you're trying to sell a house, you have to understand. I kind of that the whole speech is essentially to a real estate agent. You need to prepare your client, and if you are the client and you are the homeowner, you need to prepare yourself for the idea that um there's another side to this. I think so many people think that they're just going to list their home on for sale by owner or Zillow or whatever, and then an agent's going to bring a buyer, and that agent is going to somehow get them the best deal. But the truth is, if you don't understand the market, you have to understand that person represents, just like you, Al. You're an attorney. You represent your side, that whoever pays you, your side.
Right.
And so it's your responsibility. And as real estate agents, it's very similar in the way that we represent the side that hired us, that we went under contract with, whether it was a buyer agreement or a listing agreement. And so if you're a listing agent in this case, you need to prepare your seller that that's what the buyer's agent's going to do. They're going to they might offer $20,000 too much just because they know they're going to beat us up after inspection. And so if you know that ahead of time as the listing agent, you can prepare. And so if you prepare your client for that, and when you start getting these offers in, you don't just accept the one that's 30, 40,000 over asking cash without a proof of funds, right? And so some of those things that a lot of people don't understand. And so you definitely have to prepare, and then you have to position, right? And so, like I always say, prepare your client. For my team, on my real estate team, my buyers agents, I let them know. I say, if you send me a listing, it's my listing, because you don't want to have a whole bunch of hands in the cookie jar trying to figure out what's going on. And so I just give them a referral fee and say, let me handle it. I will get the most amount of money for it. And yeah, it's just building a relationship and understanding that at the end of the day, you're going to prepare them. You're going to position the home, right? So many people are like, it's not like selling a car, right, Al? If you're going to go sell your Bugatti, you know, you're going
Yes,
to
I
go
have
sell
one.
it. I know you got one. Come on now.
I got one. You know that.
Okay, so you're going to go sell your Bugatti. You're going to put it on. The funny thing about, I can trail off sometimes, but this is why on my show I actually have a script that I loosely follow, because my mind is all over the place sometimes. Um, but the funny thing about cars is actually they are like houses. The more expensive they are, like you buy a Bugatti, 10 years from now, it might be worth 30, 40,000 more, or a million more, or whatever it is. So anyways, but traditional cars, right? Like 20, $30,000 car, they lose value. So people will go and put them on Craigslist or something like that at a high rate. And then they expect that people are going to, offer lowball them, right? They expect that. They expect it. However, in real estate, unless you're an investor, people don't do that. People see the house for 200,000, they just go look at another house. If their budget is, let's say, 200 and your house is 250, but all the houses around your house are 220. I'm trying to just keep it general here. If all the houses around your house are 220, they're not going to say, "Hey, your house is overpriced." They don't want you to get offended. So they'll just go buy another house. Now, your house will sit on the market for a long time, and then this is where positioning is so important. Positioning, let's say the home should sell for, all the homes in the area are selling for 220. If you position it right at 220, or even at 215, let's say, because all the homes in that area were selling for 220, the amount of traffic that you're going to get, especially if your house is a little bit nicer than some of the other ones, not all of them, but on average, some of them, you're going to get so much traffic. You're positioning it so that we have 20 or 30 offers. And that one person, think about it statistically, there's going to be two or three in there that have solid cash. They're going to close. They would have just went and bought one of the 220 ones instead of yours for 250. They never even saw your property. And so that's what a lot of homeowners don't realize. So that's the positioning part of it. If you can position it, you'll create somewhat of a bidding war. And then instead of getting 220, or 225, you got them all the way up to maybe back up to 250. I've had
Right.
it happen, you know. So on the listing agent side, positioning is everything. You have to understand how to position it. And of course, there's the promotion side of it. If you've positioned it properly and I've prepared the listing agent to know that, hey, let me handle it, you know, um, and then I can promote it. And so the promotion side of it's pretty basic. It's not hard. It's not difficult, but you have to know what you're doing. The promotion side of it, it's what I call the mighty open house. And what I actually do is I throw mighty on front of everything. I got a mighty Sprite here and a
But that's
mighty
the brand. That's the beauty of the brand. I love it.
yeah, branding is everything. So
It is.
so the open house. I don't want to just rattle on for everything. Did you have something you wanted to say about that?
No, I think when you're doing it the right way with positioning yourself in that market, you'll succeed. Are you finding there's a certain type of property that you're really focusing on in the Orlando market being so hot, like not on really the luxury side or land, but like either multifamily or a certain price range that you're seeing in Orlando that seems to be pretty hot?
Yeah, what's funny is the luxury side is really hot. Even during COVID, luxury homes were selling like crazy. I mean, Shaq's home finally sold for 11 million. I mean, he had, you know, I mean, but
Crazy.
people are paying cash for these properties for 1 million up to 4 million. And the 250,000 to 350,000 has always been the fast moving homes, kind of like those starter homes. But once you get out of there and you get into the cash buyer range, it's funny because after you get a 700,000, it's considered luxury, but it's not until you get to about the million or 1.2 that the market is a buyer's market. So if I get a listing that's like 1.5, maybe 2 million, it's a good chance it's going to sit on the market for a few months, and that's normal. But also in this market, it's kind of like that area is kind of a buyer's market.
That's interesting. After it gets past a certain price point, it's actually shifting to a different type of market. See, I don't know that kind of stuff because I'm not in your world. All I see is like that the legal side, and so I don't see like what's happening on price points. But like if you go past that number, you're seeing a shift.
Yeah, and it's definitely, I mean, in a broad range, it's definitely a seller's market still. But what I'm saying is like it'll sit on the market longer than something that's like for 250 range. Also something that a lot of people don't know, that I was just blown away. But that some people are like, oh, it's just a seller's market. But if you search, like for example, in my area, if you search down like Davenport, Kissimmee area, those homes traditionally fly off the shelves. But right in the at the end of 2020, those homes were sitting on the market, and it was just completely saturated in that one community of Airbnb, because all of the investors were like, we got to get rid of these. And so I had people calling me in droves saying, hey, I gotta we gotta sell our home. And I'm this, I'm somewhat of a new agent, as far as actual being an agent. And so I started calling. I cold call every day. This is one of the things that I specialize in, is calling people and asking if they want to sell. And this one guy answers and he's like, yeah, but nobody could sell it. And I was like, I'll sell anything. I'll sell it fast. Let's do it. I could do it. And then I looked up the comps and I'm like, nah, this isn't right. Why is there 150 homes for sale in his neighborhood? You know? And it was because it was a buyer's market. Nobody was trying to buy Airbnb properties at that time. I haven't looked at it here for a little bit, but that's, yeah, some pockets are actually buyers markets depending on what's in that area.
So you brought up some areas in Orlando. Where do you see some areas heating up? Like the Winter
Yes.
Haven or like the where what are those areas? I'm trying to think. There were some hot areas even in Lake County, but I know they're not part of Orange County. There was a lot of land that was going through probate at one point. It was just land, and they were having such a hard time finding a buyer. But if you looked at it, it was supposed to be like a really nice community, and if you built it up, it was going to be amazing. Finally, market shifts over, and it was I think, I don't know, 30 miles away from Orlando or 20 miles away,
Yeah.
but it was great.
Yeah, Lakeland. So one of the things is understanding. So it just depends on what they're looking for. So the first thing I always ask people is if they're like, well, we want to move from out of state. If they're from out of state, we want to move to Florida for the beaches. I always funnel it down. Like, well, if you're coming for the beaches, do you surf? Right. Then we got to decide which beach they're going to go to. Then I know they got to go over here to Daytona area, right? Melbourne. And then if they're like, well, we just want the relaxing, retirement beach. Well, I know we got to go over to St. Pete. And so understanding that is important when people are coming from out of state, because and there's a bunch of other factors too, right? But because then you know what side to put them on. Like you mentioned Lakeland and that whole area. If someone wanted to be somewhat near St. Pete or somewhat near Tampa, that's a great area right there. That whole and then the county restrictions too are almost non-existent. The only thing you got to be careful for is the 55 communities. The villages are a little further north, but they have very strict guidelines. And you might buy a trailer, like a mobile home, manufactured home, and put it in a 55 community that then charges you $700 a month space rent. And so it's crazy, but they still pay it because they want to live in that community. They want to be a part of the Monday bingo night and the
Right.
Tuesday whatever, you know. So
Swim meets and everything. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's another thing that's happening are those communities. They're building them up. I know in the Jacksonville area, they were building a lot of communities off Nocatee that were, I think, 55 and over. So they're doing the same thing in that Orlando area, which could be hot. People are retiring in Florida. People come down here. But to even get those possibilities, those listings, those opportunities, you have to do a lot of marketing as well, too, Mike. And I loved what you put in the show notes is talking about you promote yourself like no other agent with that marketing genius, right? And how you're branding, like you talked about branding anything mighty. And your, the background, the shows that you're doing, the different podcasts, that plays a big role into you even getting into those deals, right? It's like it's one thing that you do the shows and everything, but then you got to take that marketing skill and actually apply it to getting those deals. So how are you using your marketing genius to really promote yourself and get those deals like no other?
I'll tell you, in any business that you're doing, the biggest problem that every single business has is obscurity. The obscurity, I mean, you can Google it, you can look at any different definition that you want of it. I mean, I've learned that someone said that a long time ago, and I thought, you know what? And I looked it up and I really thought about it. Like, how is obscurity hurting me? The idea that people don't know your name is your biggest issue. I mean, the best example is Kim Kardashian, you know? Like she got famous for reasons we won't even talk about on your show, and it went public or whatever, and people saw that, their whole family blew up. So how many people in the country thought, "Oh, that's scandalous," but now they know her name. And then the other half of people who maybe don't really care if it's scandalous are like, her makeup's kind of nice. Maybe I'll buy it. And then her sister and all the whole family now. Her younger sister is the richest, or I mean youngest billionaire, not just a woman, but the youngest billionaire, period. And she's a woman. And so it's like what is that? Kylie, I think is her name.
Wow.
Uh Jenner. So yeah, obscurity. So when it comes to real estate, it's no different. The one difference I will say in real estate is that it's localized. If you can localize it, like do what you're doing now, have a show and use YouTube is the second largest search engine. It's nearing the largest search engine because so many people, especially the youngest generation, is on YouTube nonstop all day searching how to's. And if all you did was make 2 or 3 minute videos about how to read an inspection report and or just interview people, if you're a brand new agent, you just interview people who are experts. Like Al, I'm going to have you on the show. We're going to talk all about probate. If someone searches probate in my area, and I have all the hashtags for Orlando, and they find me and they're like, oh, okay, cool, he's got a show. And that's actually happened, Al. I can't name his name, but he's a music artist. His wife reached out to me and booked a call just randomly, and I saw her last name and I recognized it right away.
Mm.
And I can't, of course, I can't say who it is, but then I booked a Zoom call. She booked a Zoom call with me, and we met. And he peeked his head in, and I was just like, "Dude, I'm a huge fan." And he's a rap artist, and so they had like 3 or 4 homes, and they wanted to buy a home right there next to Disney. They're like, "We want to have a Disney vacation home. We go to this certain community all the time, and this is the area we want." So I was like, how did you guys find me? I'm just curious. And they're like, we searched on Google. One of your YouTube videos showed up, vacation homes near Disney. I did a whole special on Margaritaville. And honestly, I went to Margaritaville with the prettiest girl on my team, and we did a video highlighting all of the little areas of Margaritaville right there near Disney, and did a cool little thumbnail. We just had a good time. And then I uploaded it to YouTube, and here we go. I'm sitting here talking to the wife of this artist, and they're wanting to pay cash. So just to wrap that story up, there was no homes available in the area in that little community that they wanted. So what did I do? The property appraiser's website. I found the owners, and I called all the owners, almost all of them absentee owners. And I said, I'm just curious, if you could get the right price for your home, would you consider selling? And that is $1 million phrase. If you're watching this right now, you're a real estate agent, say it. If you could get the right price for your home, would you consider selling? And if they say yes, or I don't know, what's your offer? That's it. That's gold. And so sure enough, I found somebody who was willing to sell, made an offer, got it under contract, got it all done. They got a place right there near Disney. Just a beautiful little family. They got a few girls. And so anyway, and I just started in January, Al. I mean, I'm as an actual agent. And so if you take whatever skills you had before, apply them to what you're doing now, you can find success.
Interesting. So you found a lot of success even in that social media space. Just because I saw you the other day, you did like 10 stories. It was like you did multiple stories and then you went live. I don't remember who the guest was, but you went live with somebody. I was like, Mike is really using this platform. And it wasn't necessarily like, talking about how hot the market is or how not hot the market is or what is an inspection. You were just also just talking to people too, which is great. Like you just bring people on. Like we're doing this right now. Like I
Yeah.
love this, right? This
Yeah.
is conversation. This is not just an interview. This is back and forth about, you about what you do and how you can help others figure out what you're doing and help them grow. So social media definitely is huge. The YouTube world is huge. Like you said, just taking your phone out. I mean, I don't go live as much as I should, even though I'm live right now. So that, I mean, but to me, that doesn't count, right? Like live is going like and talking about something outside somewhere too. And if you could do that multiple times and talk about either real estate or talk to somebody, that's huge. And I love what you're doing with that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think just finding opportunities to be able to be, you know, in the metaverse. I mean, if
I'm not
I
there yet,
mean,
but yeah,
I mean, for those, Al, I don't know if you've been researching this, but I got some big changes coming up. I'm not going to announce them on here, but I'm just saying, like, the metaverse is here. It's here. I mean, the only thing is, it's just like, man, we could talk about this for too long. I don't want to go down a trail here, but just, yeah, using social media and keeping your ear to the ground about what the next big things are that are coming and being ready for them and being open minded to what it might be. I mean, for example, Al, when Facebook Live first came out, if I went live, it would immediately notify all the people I was friends with. I mean, if I had 100 friends, there'd be 100 people watching, right? That's how it was at first. The algorithms have changed to promote the different features that they want to grow and to see if they're going to work. So only 1/3 of your audience, I can say this as a marketer, only 1/3 of your audience sees the things that you post. So feel free to post the same thing 3 times, 4 times, and just keep posting and posting and posting. Gary Vee is completely right. If you look up Gary Vee, his advice is very plain. It's very much the same every time. It is just post over and over and over, and that kindness and emotional intelligence is the infinite ROI. And it's so true. Treat other people with kindness, do your best to provide value to everyone you come into contact with, and then just be genuine and authentic, and then produce 100 things a day. And if you're not producing 100 things a day, this is what he says. If you're not producing 100 things a day, don't come to me and tell me that your business isn't growing, because you're not doing enough.
if you're doing that much, then you will grow over time, and then you're not going to be posting 100 times a day. You're going to have somebody else be helping you, and you're going to grow a team too. So,
It's true.
just Mike, just wanted to say, Carolina Mendez is watching, and she says, "Congratulations, Mike." But I mean, we're not getting into it, but congratulations. So, there, you have fans that are watching, and anybody that's got a question for Mike Reid, Mighty Mike, ask away. We're live right now. Anything from social media to promoting to building the business and really starting out, what it was like in his world. I can't even imagine what it was like really starting out as an agent. Like there's so many agents out there, just like there's so many lawyers, there's so many everything. And it's just, you got to find your footing and you got to find your path and your niche. Where do you see yourself focusing next? Now that you've been basically a year in, where do you see yourself as a vision taking things to another level?
Yeah. So it's funny you said that because I spent most of the day today. Uh, I have all this stuff I got to do, and I spent most of the day. I could actually show you. Well, not everyone's gonna see it, but I have this whole like Venn diagram that talks about like
Oh,
the most important things in your life and a whole schedule. I mean, the thing I think is interesting is like I interviewed Ricky Caruth on my show yesterday, and he has, and I don't want to spend too much time on him, but this guy has just dominated the real estate industry with cold calling, providing free resources to realtors, and and in the first couple minutes on my show, Al, he said, I'm just trying to figure out where to go next with my life. Like he was in a place like I was today of like, okay, I got to like recalibrate, see what I want to do. Like, how are things going? Like, I think that's, the beautiful mind, the movie. The reality is you got to do what's best for you and recalibrate, see what's working. And then make a plan and then work that plan. And so to answer your question for me moving forward, I'm going to work a lot less, like the one thing I've learned in my other companies when I really started making more money is when I stopped working so much. Stop working in the business as much as you are and work on the business. If there's something, would you pay, there's a saying, I'm a butcher it, but would you pay yourself $8 an hour, or would you let someone else pay you $8 an hour to sit there and answer the phones? If you wouldn't, well, then you better pay somebody else to answer those phones. If you wouldn't let somebody pay you to take out the trash, I don't know, whatever thing it is, and nothing should be beneath you, but if you could be doing something better with your time, then you should. And so what my challenge for 2022 is, I'm still on my health journey. And so I got a lot of different things going on, but one of my challenges for 2022, Al, is I'm going to work 2 days a week. 2 days a week, and I'm going to double my output in real estate. That is, going to only 2 days a week. And what I mean by working 2 days a week is, I have basically an 11-hour day. And so I'm going to do 2 11-hour days where that includes producing my show, growing my network, and then cold calling, cold call for 11 hours. Most people don't cold call for 1 hour a day for 5 days. So it's a no-brainer. And if those are the only two things I do, I've already interviewed Al this year. I've already interviewed over 40 guests. And I mean, this is how I met you.
right.
Right. I interviewed Steve Rosenberg. And by the way, I reached out to him on Instagram. Right. I said, hey, Steve, can I connect with you? Ricky Cruz reached out to him on Instagram. And guess what? The most important thing when it comes to Instagram and those social medias, they look at what you're posting. You message them if they're ever going to message you back. I don't know should I say his name. Yeah, I'm not going to say his name yet because he hasn't. He responded, but he hasn't come on my show yet. And so I messaged this one guy, big name, and he's like, yeah, I checked out your channel. You're doing some pretty cool stuff. He's like, I'll come. I definitely want to come on your show. Go ahead and email my team, and let them know how. Let's coordinate it. And so I emailed them, and so I haven't heard back yet. So I didn't want to say anything. But the proof is in the pudding, right? Go on Instagram, message 100 people a day. By the way, LinkedIn, Al, you're just a rock star on a lot of these social channels, and on LinkedIn is one of my favorites because it still lets you search for people based on their location and their title. And LinkedIn will let you send up to 75 connection requests a day, as long as people aren't like marking you as spam or whatever. You don't want to just reach out to random people. But if you're a lawyer and you're trying to connect with other attorneys, or if you're a marketer, you're trying to connect with other marketers, they're generally just going to accept your connection request because the opportunity might be there to do business, right?
Interesting. Yeah, because LinkedIn, I keep hearing a lot of people talk about LinkedIn. I'm heavily on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, all the other ones. I keep like circling around. It's like LinkedIn should be in the middle, and I keep going around the circle. But it's a common theme now that people keep talking about. They talked about it a lot when Clubhouse was even more hot. They talked about it. There's people that talk about it at networking events. So it's something to check out. Even as being in the real estate world, it could be a really good connection for you. But Mike, I love your quote about stop being in the business, be on the business. And I think a lot of people should take note of that, because when you keep churning in the same circles for your business, I mean, you'll get some results, but you really got to find a way. Being on the business is scaling.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. When you're on it and viewing it is scaling. So I love what you're doing.
Yeah, just to be brutally honest, okay, it's valuable to some people, and some people get annoyed, right? To be brutally honest, Al, not everybody should get into real estate. You know, there's plenty of work to go around. There's plenty of work to go around. But the thing is, you're not gonna make a living in real estate posting a TikTok video of your butt, you know, or of some cool little dance that you're doing. So, and the reason why I say that is because when I bring somebody new onto my team, and as I'm recruiting people onto my team, I have to let them know, you can make a phone call today and be sitting at a family's dinner table tonight, listing their home, receiving an offer on it tomorrow, and have a paycheck in 30 days. There's no other business you're going to make $4 or $5,000 in that amount of time unless you're doing something illegal. Yeah, you
And then
know,
Mighty Mike is coming and serving you. Yeah.
let me tell you, I could tell you stories on the process serving side. I mean, I have a whole show about it. I don't produce anymore, but
You should. I mean, those are great stories. I mean, I love hearing some of the private investigating stuff that goes on, like some of the things that happen in all the types of neighborhoods. It's crazy things that are happening. But hey, this all of this stuff, Mike, is super valuable for people. And that these things that you're talking about, they're going to be great quote cards, because people are inspired by those things. So I love it.
yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I'll tell you when it comes to when you've been a process server and you've seen people, you've kind of seen it all. Like the sad thing is, and I've actually I was at a board meeting for one of the associations in Florida, for the Florida Process Servers Association. I still stay involved with that, and we were all sitting around a dinner table having drinks and stuff, and we got to talking, and we thought, you know what, we should make a sitcom or like a TV show about all of the things that we have seen. And one of the things, can I tell you
Yeah,
my
go for it.
favorite, my all-time favorite story to this day? Oh man, I can't say her name. That's one of the funniest parts about it. Um, that's one of the funniest parts about it. Her name. Anyway, I was evicting this woman and her family, and she was the trailer park manager. And I'll never forget going there, knocking on the door, nobody would answer. And one day I leaned down and looked inside the mail slot just to see, because I thought I heard something. The old mail slots on the doors. And I see this whole family diving to the floor behind the couches. Dive, get down, get down. And they just like diving down behind the couches. And I'm sitting there like looking through the thing, just trying to serve them. And I'm like, did that just happen? And I threw the documents, because in California, if you could see them and you could communicate with them, you could serve them. And
Drop
so I
serve.
said, and identify them. You have to identify them. And I could see that it was her, from her Facebook. And so then I slid the documents through and said, "You're served." And to this day, that is just like one of the funniest things. It's not as funny because you don't know her last name, but if you did, man, geez.
Great. I mean,
It's
yeah, it's crazy. Isn't that a drop serve? Like where you could see them, you can identify them. You literally leave it at the doormat or something.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you just never know. But oh yeah, so the point was that you get to see the lowest of the low, where people are in a place like, one guy ended up serving him. He was a doctor in town, and I ended up serving him. Um, he was cheating on his wife, or whatever. I served him divorce papers, and then I served him later on. He put a shotgun in my face and told me, don't ever come around here. And you know what's funny, Al? It tells you a lot about people's mindset. And people, I would serve criminals on a regular basis child support papers, and it would be the nicest guys. they don't want to go back to jail over some papers, the nicest guys. But go knock on a doctor's door in a multi-million dollar house, puts a shotgun in my face, right? So it's the mindset is totally different in what they believe they're allowed to do. And so anyway, I ended up serving him divorce papers, eviction papers, and eventually bankruptcy papers at his girlfriend's house, which is this little. So you just get to see the downside of people's lives, and I just didn't want that. I didn't want to even have the opportunity for that to ever happen to me or my family. I have 5 children, and and I just wanted to build a better life for me and for my kids. And anybody can do it, by the way. Anybody. I have a teenage son who works at Arby's, and I hope he's watching this. He probably isn't. He's probably playing video games. But you know, he called me and he wanted to make some money. And he's like, "Dad, I know you got these businesses online and stuff." And what was funny is, like, I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I was like, "There's 100 things you could do. I'm not going to give you a job, because last time I did that, it didn't work out. I was like, I'll teach you how to make money, and you eat what you kill." And so I told him a couple things. He's like, "Well, I want to make more money." And so, "Well, if you want to make more money than that, you got to call people. You got to sell." And I said, "Let's meet tomorrow and I'll start training you." Never called me, never called me back. We've talked about other things, after that, but never about making money. People just don't want to put in the work, Al. It's just
It's
how it
amazing.
is.
Yeah, you got to put in the work, and you have to have the drive too. If you
Yeah.
don't have the drive for what you're about to do, and it's gonna, you may not fail, but you're not gonna want to even do that. And it is what it is. You got to put in the work and have the drive.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
So I had some comments that came up on the screen. Helen, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Mike's got a great episode. She says, "I'm a member of the Jax Ria members group only." Hey, we love Jax Ria. We love the group Jax Ria. It's a real estate investor association up here, Mike. So it's a big one up in
Very
Jacksonville.
cool.
So Helen, thanks for watching the show. And Trish, big fan. Thank you so much for watching. She had a great question. I had a really bad realtor. How do you find a good one?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the funny thing about the real estate industry, just to relate it. So the process serving industry, there's just like one association. You go there, I'll plug them, naps, right? You go there, and the people are held to a higher standard where if they don't do what they're supposed to do, they will file a complaint, whatever. We have something similar to that in real estate, and it's called NAR. Or in the local areas, you can find a local board and go to that local board and find a list of people. And oftentimes they've segmented them based on what they specialize in. And so that would be a place to start. And the number one thing I would say is just have a quick list. You can Google the list, but the thing would be, can you negotiate the sale of my home? How many homes have you sold in my area? Now, that's not the most important factor. The most important factor to me is, like, are they full time? Is this a part time person who just got licensed and they haven't even talked about real estate for a couple months? They haven't even written any contracts in the last couple. Like, that's the thing. You want to find somebody, and Google is actually really good. If you just search on Google in the area, you're going to see people with 2,000, reviews and stuff. There's a really solid chance that's a good realtor.
Well, there you go. I mean, Mighty Mike has his word in right there. So there you go, Trish. Thanks for watching, Trish. And Kobe, I see you. I know you're there. You've been watching the lives. Thanks so much for watching, Kobe. And everybody else that's watching out there, drop a comment, hit a like, hit a love. Let's see that you're out there. If you have any questions or want to interact, I'm here. We're here to interact, and that's part of the live show. And going into season 3, we're going to have way more interaction. We want to hear from the guests. We want to put you up there, like Kobe's up there right now. Kobe, you're getting the free advertising right there. So we want you out there. We want to know that you're out there watching the show and watching Mike Reid and everything that he's got to say. Mike, I've loved going back and forth. I can't wait to be there at the Mighty Mike meetup one day, and then I can't wait to be on your episode and show. Tell everybody, what's the book coming out? The How to Find Motivated Sellers and Close the Deal. What it's about?
Yeah. So the funny thing, when I got into real estate, like I said, the first thing I found was, finding deals. I was pretty good at finding deals. I knew how to find them. Um, And I thought, okay, I'm going to go out and find them, but then they were already taken. And so as I started, someone had already did a contract, so I'm like, I'm missing something here. What am I missing? How are these people getting ahead of it? And and I was fairly new to real estate, even before I was licensed. I was fairly new to real estate investing. So, but what I learned was, and this, Al, the networking was the key. Networking and knowing those wholesalers, knowing those investors already was the key. And so there's a few elements. I like to get technical with some things because you can get technical with it once. And then after that, you set it on autopilot and you just got the leads coming in. You got the leads coming in. And so finding motivated sellers is that element. If you ever ask an investor, like, what's your criteria? Some of them who are really experienced will say, I'm only looking for a single family investment, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,500 square foot or more, right? But someone who is just like, I don't care, like just send me whatever, somewhat of a new investor, or maybe a mid level investor, they're still hungry. And that's why they say, well, anything that makes sense. And so what you got to do, and there's a lot of programs out there, but the crazy thing about real estate is everyone is charging crazy amounts of money, either for coaching or for their software, and you just got to pay it so you can figure it out. The good news is I've paid for it, right? I've paid for it. I'm a software nut, so I like paid for it. I built 2 softwares, a website building company similar to Wix, and 123 e-file and a couple others that have really helped pave the way for me to be able to start my career in real estate. And so in this book, I'm going to basically break down the different ways to find real estate, and basically people who are in situations where they need to get out. And I think the common misconception now is that you're going to find people and then you're going to take advantage of them, right? You're going to somehow take their equity, and that's what's going to make you rich, yeah, or whatever. That's going to make you all this money. And this is what a lot of people like to talk about. The problem is, as a process server, what I saw is I saw people, and this out in a lot of situations with probate. What I saw is that people were getting evicted when they've already put in a fair amount of money. I mean, maybe $90,000, $100,000 into that property over so many years, paying their mortgage payments. And because now they can't pay their mortgage payments anymore, the bank's going to take the whole thing. You're going to walk away with nothing, and you're not even going to be able to rent a house because of your bad credit. So, what my goal is, and it's always been this way, I've always thought about this, is find these people and help them out of that situation. Give them some cash to move to their next place without bad credit. And then you get to turn around and fix that house and sell it for a profit. And like I was saying earlier, if you can find a way to create a win-win-win in all situations, the blessings you're going to receive are just going to be endless. And so the book will break that down. I have a huge list of resources and how much the things cost. I'm actually going to put a course together too. I don't want to promise anything, but I'm putting together a course completely free. All of it's free. And I'm just really excited, and I'm grateful to be on your show, your last show of the year, man. I feel so mighty.
Mighty. This is what it's all about, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and like what it's like running a show, the production, it's a lot of work. I mean, you should have seen it back in May and June. I mean, we were going crazy because actually at one point I wanted Monday, Wednesday, and I was like, after a while, whoa, the weekend came, Sunday was over, and it was like immediate like show production. It's a lot of work. So, I mean, I love what you're doing with the book and all the shows. It's crazy seeing that it's blowing up for you. And yeah, final episode, because now take that break all the way until January, and that's what a lot of us should do. We work,
Yeah.
and then take that little hiatus, and then bring on season 3. So that's what's coming. And I wanted to make sure I had you on, the final guest. So thanks again so much for being on, Mike. And Kobe asked, is Orlando your area?
Yeah, actually, it's funny, one of the things I was saying earlier, Al, was the missing element that I had when I first got here was the network. And so I went to a few networking meetings and I realized, there was a lot of good talent there. There's a lot of very nice people, very good quality. But what I realized is that the missing element of the entertainment, of the mightiness, And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to create my own meetup. And so I called it mightymeetup.com. And so you guys definitely go join my group. Anyone's welcome. There's just no spam, of course, no Forex or Amazon jobs or anything like that. Um, and yeah, you come join the group, and we're basically talking all about real estate investing in Orlando. And tomorrow we're having our first in-person Mighty meetup. I guess I don't know. This is coming out on all channels, but November 18th at 6 o'clock. And I know you're going to be in town, right, Al?
I know. I'm going to be there tomorrow at REI Live Orlando. It's going to be crazy.
That is so cool. I wish it was on a different day so I could go.
I know. When you said it was going to be November 18th, or no, actually, what happened is Steve Rosenberg asked if I was going to be in Orlando that weekend. And I was like, yeah, or that week. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be there. And I think he said like November 18th at that exact time. I'm like, what? And, like, oh, I wish it was a different day. So, but
Oh,
I'll be
man.
back. I'll make sure to do probate at the Mighty Mike meetup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, Orlando's as an agent, I'm writing offers like crazy, negotiating offers. I actually enjoy that. I enjoy educating my sellers and my buyers. As a real estate agent, you're basically a glorified negotiator. You know, it's what
Yeah.
you do. And as an investment realtor, I understand the investment side of it too, Al, that I know the numbers, I crunch the numbers, I have a few different tools. So we know how much we're going to make before we even make an offer. Does it need a roof? Let's run some permits and see if it even, let's add another 15 grand for the roof, and so you need that in a realtor, especially if you're an investor, not just somebody to send you deals and let you figure it out.
Yeah, you need good people. So great. No, that's great, Mike. And Kobe also asked, is Mighty Meetup a Facebook group?
Yeah, so I created it as a Facebook group just for simplicity purposes. Everything is free. I thought, oh, I'll build a cool page and have a website group, and then I was like, well, that's going to cost money and this and that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it on Facebook. So yeah, it's mightymeetup.com will take you straight to it. If you put it in the browser, it'll take you straight to the Facebook group. Definitely make sure to answer the questions. I'm always surprised when people don't answer the questions. Like, we don't want to have a ghost in our group, so you got to answer the questions.
Yeah, I hear you. No, hey, that's great. Having that Facebook group and having the live meetup, having that combination is super powerful. And also the power of the show. Trish, if you're still watching, Gina actually replied to you and asked what part of Florida you're looking for a realtor. She's got some contacts for you. So get with Gina Dodson. She's watching, big fan. So, you got people that are interacting on the show, Mike, and it's amazing the power of what we do and how we can bring people together and help people connect. And, like Trish was going through, she had one bad realtor. Now we have a way that she's now has some contacts and ways to find a good realtor. So huge value. Love having you on the show. For people that want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So again, I like to keep it super simple. Mike at mightymikereid.com. And my name is Reid, the right way, correct way to spell it. And and of course, you could definitely check me out on Instagram. I got the Mighty Mike Reid, and mightymikereid.com is actually my YouTube channel. Keeping it simple.
There you go. Keep it straightforward, simple, and that makes it all the better. And who are you looking to get in touch with you, Mike? Who would be that ideal person to help, like, really connect with you, to take you to the next level or collaborate?
Yeah, so I would love to meet anyone who wants to invest in real estate, but the perfect person to meet with me, honestly, Al, is that person who and I know a few of them off the top of my head personally, that has $30,000, $40,000 in the bank, and inflation is just eating it alive, and they don't know it. They see the numbers staying the same, but they don't realize that a gallon of milk now costs an extra $1. They don't realize that gas is costing an extra $2. So it's essentially going down in value. And so real estate is the safest way to invest that money and be able to get a return. Just one example, Al, you can invest $10,000 if you want to be a hard money lender. That's what we're talking about. Join a syndication, not my syndication. So I'm not a securities person, in case don't come after me, people. But I can connect you with, and I can find these resources so that you can actually earn. Let's say you put in $10,000, you could potentially get a check every single month for $800, right?
Wow.
$800 a month. And then at the end of 3 or 4 months, get your $10,000 back in full. And so that's what a lot of people don't realize. Just with a little bit of money invested in real estate, you can actually make a lot of money and not just have that money sitting there and letting inflation gobble it up.
And like you said earlier, where are you going to go where you're going to make that kind of return on your investment and in just in any kind of employment job, right? Like there's a lot of money to be made. There's tons of deals happening all the time. So you just got to find your niche, find your rhythm. And like Mike Reid said, promote and really make sure you put yourself out there and you put your best to your clients and your customers, and things will grow. And of course, as Mike was talking about, really use the social media world more to your advantage than ever, and you'll grow. Yeah, even Kobe liked that. Kobe really liked that. He even said get with him. He knows a great probate guy. So I don't know who the probate guy is.
I got a probate guy.
You got a guy, Mike. You got a guy. So, hey, awesome. Thanks again so much for being on. Really enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. And anybody that wants to reach out to Mike, if you go back and you rewind the episode, you'll see all the chyrons that came up on the bottom that talks about Mighty Mike, Mike Reid, the meetup, any way to get in touch with him. Make sure you reach out to him at any time. He's always looking to connect. So before we hop off and get off for the final episode of season 2, it's crazy to me. I just can't believe it's November 17th right now. Like, I mean, that's just so crazy. Hey, Brett's out there. Killer show. Al and Mike. Brett McCollum, thank you so much for watching. Man, that's awesome. I love it. And Kobe says, I want to talk Mike. So Kobe, get with Mike. It's, he's out there. Go, get in touch with him. So Mike, wait, we have somebody else. We have another question. Oh, something else came up. Oh, whoa, there's something on YouTube. I don't even see that. Oh, Carolina says, Al, I sell land in all Florida and homes in Broward County. A large number of my clients need probate. We'll be in contact. Boom. Look at that. Carolina. Wow. Carolina for the win. Boom. It's on the final episode of season 2. I love it. Great. Yeah. Reach out anytime. So that's great. I mean, right. There's a huge community out there, Mike. So I love it. Brett, Kobe, Carolina, Trish, Gina. It's incredible. Everybody that's watching, it's great. So before we hop off, final words, final thoughts.
Take mighty action, whatever it is, make a list, think about, where you're at in life, what your greatest strengths are, and just go after it. I mean, don't let fear, keep you, hold you back. And then if ever, probably the biggest thing for me, like we talked about, is if you don't have the answer and you're YouTubing it and Googling it and you're not finding the answer, you're looking for it when you should be looking for who. Find the who that you're missing, and everything kind of just falls into place.
Boom. It's about who you know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take it from Mike Reid, Mighty Mike. Mike, thanks so much again. I'll see you soon. We'll connect soon. I love it. I love what you're doing. Keep going, man. I love it. Talk soon.
Thanks, Al.
You got it. Wow, what a jam-packed final episode on season 2. I really cannot believe it's the end of season 2. I mean, season 1, if you're wondering what season 1 was, it was all the episodes that I had pre-recorded that were not on Restream. It was actually Zoom. I wasn't even in the studio at the time. And that was all the guests that were on, like, I think episode 1 through 40. And great. If go back and watch season 1 if you didn't see season 1 and you've been watching season 2 in the studio. check it out. I see all of you out there. Drop a like, a comment. I love that all of you are watching. Kobe, Brett. Yeah, Brett was like, who, not how. I love it, man. Everybody that was watching, just make sure you go back to all the episodes in season 2. There's so much content out there. I love that everybody was watching. I want season 3 to be more interactive. If you got comments and you got questions, keep it in mind when season 3 starts. It's going to be January 12th at 8 p.m. And I'm going to have a great guest. You'll see all the promotion for it, but it'll be a great show, great season that's coming up. So stay tuned. You can find all the past episodes on the Al Nicoletti Show, which is on iTunes and Spotify. You can find all the amazing guests that are on the. Hey, Mom, there's Mom. She put the crown. Hey, there you go. Joanne's watching out there. Thanks, Mom. She's been watching. She was actually helping figure out how we can even run this whole thing in the studio through the camera and everything. So love you, Mom. Thanks so much for watching. It's been crazy. I can't believe it's the end of season 2. It's amazing. So I love that everybody's watching. So everybody, you can find all the amazing past episodes, micro content that's out there. You can find it on Facebook, Instagram, at Attorney Nicoletti, and all the amazing content that's out there on probate, partitions, quiet title. I can't wait to see you all again for season 3 of the Al Nicoletti Show. This is me signing off on season 2. I will see you all January 12th. Have a great one. Happy New Year, happy Thanksgiving, and happy holidays. I'll see you soon.